My name is SIBY SUDHAKARAN. Born here in Kerala, but I never lived here. So that's why I was telling my friend also there that you never lived here. I lived all my life in Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal. That's where I studied, that's where I did my graduation, that's where I worked. And then it was since 2015 that I moved to Dubai. Obviously, as many of you, how many of you, either your family or somebody around is in UAE or in Middle East? Everyone, right? So I also had my sister. My dad was there for some time. So you know, uh, when I felt that it was like a glass ceiling, being in Indore, working in media, then I kind of thought, it's right time for me to move out of a small place like Bhopal and Indore, and I went to Dubai. And it's been 15 years that I'm living there. So since 2015. And it's been some time that over a year. How many of you are aware of Expo 2020 Dubai? How many of you heard of it? Anybody happened to visit? No, right? So that was my bout with the startup ecosystem. So I'm as new as many of you guys here. It's just been a year that I got introduced to this entire ecosystem of startups. And but the benefit that I had was, being part of something called IBPC, which is a business council. And 7 years I was part of that business council, which gave me a very good exposure to all the professionals and businessmen there. So right now what I'm doing is basically any startups who come there to Dubai, I can help them with business connections. And we run a platform called Startup Middle East. That's essentially what we do. And that's all I have to share with you guys. More importantly, we have around 30-40 minutes. What I would like to do is have questions from you, and then maybe we can just address it, and over the course, let's see how much I can be of any help to you guys. So any one of you, if you can just start with what is, the reason that you would consider going to Dubai. How many of you are proper, who have some of the other startup right now? You have founded a startup. Almost everyone. You want to ask something?
So basically myself, Muhammad Anas. Muhammad Anas. Yes, our business Skills Park the Finishing School. Skills Park the Finishing School. So basically we are focusing on the professional training for the accounting, digital marketing, multimedia and office administration jobs. Okay. So actually in the office administration related jobs, many people, they are going abroad to look a job actually. Maybe are they taking a
Yeah. All right, sure.
can I use this?
Please,
Yeah,
go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, so basically I'm just taking the accounting. That means not office jobs. I'm taking office jobs. So many people, they are going after the graduation to abroad, okay, to find a job, a good job. Maybe they are relative there.
Really sitting down in their guest room and figuring out what to do. After 3 days, my sister told me that, one of our office boys will help me get my resume printed. So it was almost 7 years, 8 years that I had ever, updated my resume. So I took time, I updated my resume, went there, and next day morning I got 200 copies of my resume, my own resume. And my Chechi said, start your work, look for a job. So essentially after 2 months I was not able to find a single opportunity or an interview as well. So first step, what I would suggest and what I have seen through my own experience is that the best way, if any one of us, because going to Dubai, it seems that from Delhi I came here day before yesterday, so it's a 3-hour flight, and pretty much Dubai is also 3-hour flight. So it seems very easy, very convenient to reach out there. The visit visa is very easy. But if you don't want to land up to a surprise that I had, the best part is to have your own homework. Alright? So what I would suggest is, it was the second last day when my visa, that time I had a 60-day visa. It was getting over, and one day before, I got a chance to meet one of my family friends who was somewhere, one of our family friends in Kozhikode. We had, so I just gave him a call. He gave me a card. So I said, uncle, you told me that whenever you're in Dubai, I can give you a courtesy call. So he said, how many days you are here? I said, it's 59 days. Tomorrow I'm going back home. He said, can you come and meet me? So I said, when there, he said, did you try for jobs? I said, 58, 9 days I was doing that only. And I went around, I have seen Dubai, but not the way a tourist would like to go and see. But in a typically we're hunting for a job. He said, what have you studied? Do you have your copy right now? I said, I was not asked in an interview, so I don't have one. So he said, go and talk to my HR guy. He just knew that I am a double PG in media. That's all he was aware of. And he said that I wanted somebody in media. And he just vaguely asked me how much you're expecting. I said, to my understanding, if I have to come shift here along with my family, this is the salary that I would rewrite. And he just said, okay, go back home tomorrow. I will send you a visa and come back and join me. So it was 59th day and just, a courtesy visit. Because I had a card, I said, this is the only card I had. Just gave him a call and he gave me a job. And later on I figured out that it was a very good salary. It was just a vague throw that I pushed and he gave me that salary. And it was another deal that, after being there with him for almost 2 months, he didn't had any work for me. It was just, he wanted somebody to pick up. But later on it's a different story that, I kind of made a team of 10 people when I left the office after 2 months. So the most important thing for even if, just coming back to, if you are a startup and if you want to set up a business there, what I would suggest the best thing or what I recommend people right now also, those who get in touch with me through LinkedIn or whichever way, is 2 things which you need to figure out very seriously is first, whether this is the right time to move to that part. It looks convenient if anybody of you are into any sort of tech platform who can have your backend here and expand your business. That is an ideal situation, but it would completely depend upon your own business plans that whether is the right time to move there or not. Okay, so first of all, the point which you should take care in mind is that whether this is the right time or not, whether you are well prepared there, because the moment we are here in a limited ecosystem, right? But when you go to Dubai, you in a way will expose yourself to 200 plus nationalities and a lot of people. It's like a really a very well cultured pot, where you will find a lot of experts, and if you are not prepared well in a way that whichever your enterprise is, if you do not have references in Dubai, a lot many things work out of references, very frankly. And if you have already been there, how many of you have ever been to anywhere in the Middle East? You have been there, both of you, right? So that's what something which I have felt that that networking is the best way that you should reach out to that anywhere in Dubai. So 2 things is first, I'll share one more experience with you, right? The way you asked me a question, there was one person who was based out of Chennai. Okay, he is basically into controlled environment farming. We see about the soilless farming, vertical farming. The guy is from Chennai. He is registered his company in Singapore and wanted to expand to UAE region. So he came there for Gulf food manufacturing. The lot of events happen there. How many of you heard of Jitex? How many of you heard of Gulf food? All of you have, right? So he came in one of those sections, and after he had, because he was coming there from Singapore, so he spent some time and he wanted to network with people, and through somewhere he got in touch with me that can be of support, and he came and met me. So by then he was planning to have a visa of his own, a company registered for himself, and he was planning to start his company. And the budget term sheet that he had in his somebody whosoever he was consulting with was around 85,000 dirhams. Now how much is 85,000 dirhams in almost 20 lakh rupees, right? He was ready to spend 20 lakh rupees to set up his company there. So I just asked, if you do not mind, can you just share that document with me? And he just showed me that document, and I saw that he had somebody suggested to start a mainland license. Okay, so there are 2 kind of licenses there. One is a mainland license, one is a free zone license. So he had plans that I will start a mainland license. He has a quota of 4 people whom he can employ with, and then he had plans to understand the market, go around people. So I said, end of the day, what do you want? Starting after spending this 85,000 dirhams, what is your plan? What do you want to do? He said, I want to figure out if I can get business from here. Okay. So I said, what exactly is your pitch deck? What exactly is the business that you're looking for? And he had quota for hiring 4 people. So I said, what is the kind of a profile that you're looking for a person who will do your business development work? He gave me those 2 documents, and within half an hour I was able to get him 4 resumes, 4 profile of 4 people, right? And out of that 4 resumes, he selected one, that this guy would be a perfect person for me to do my business development work. We quickly gave him a call. One of my friend who does the HR work for us. Sure. So he does the HR work for us, and he said he agreed that this guy was ready to work for 4,000 dirhams. Okay, 4,000 dirhams he was ready to work. I said, can we get on a call right now? So 20 minutes later we got on a call, and this guy who is from Singapore explained the entire concept to him, that this is what I want to explore. And this guy said after 20 days he would get relieved from his current job and he can take a job. So what essentially he did, I recommended him hire this guy, okay, on a payroll. Now hiring an employee in anywhere in particularly UAE is cost. One, you have to pay for the visa cost. Second, you have to pay for the end of term benefits and insurance, right? And every time you hire one person, you have to pay for the quota. So this guy hired the person on a payroll consultancy company. Through them he hired him. What did he save? 85,000 dirhams, right? To start with, I said, to hire this guy, work a bit, understand the market a lot, figure out. I gave him few contacts. I introduced him to Dubai Silicon Oasis, where they had strawberry vertical farming. I made him visit there, understand a bit more from the people there, and after 4 or 6 months he can spend that money. So what you need to know essentially is which activity your business does exactly fall into. You are into training, education, training, right? Anybody else? What is your business?
We are in education. Yeah, we are providing languages, like multiple foreign languages. Yeah.
So you take that.
Yes, we are developing.
Anybody else? What is your business?
The moderator was the
Stand. Okay. What else?
Is the CEO of
Anybody else?
Innovation Global. And because everyone would kindly
Basically, we are making a virtual reality application for meeting psychology doctors with patients.
Okay. It's kind of an aggregator platform where you will connect doctors with patients, right? Anybody else? Parenting for early child. Okay. Okay. What else? Okay. It's a SaaS product. Okay. So we have got education. Both of you are into education. Okay. You are into
Mentor hiring platform. Mentor hiring platform.
mentor hiring platform. So there are 2 things that initially you have to check. One is which category your business will fall into. Okay. When you go and look for any sort of a business license there in Dubai or UAE, you have to understand that which particular activity or category your business would fall into. That's one thing. And second aspect, what you will have to understand is basically, is it regulated? For example, if you are into training, any sort of training, you are into parenting, right? So there is a body called KHDA, which is basically under all the training programs, all the schools, all sort of educational activities fall under KHDA. Somebody said you are into mental health, right? So there is Dubai Health Authority, DHA. So any of the regulatory body that you will have to take permissions from, that's one thing. And second, which activity. After you have identified that this is exactly where your business activity fall into, the second thing, which is more of your own work that you will have to do, that is, you will have to understand, apart from touch base with as many people as you can who are working in your domain. Take help from people and platforms like ours where you, and you know, all of us have somebody in Dubai, right? All of us, if in our family, our neighborhood, our cousins, our batchmates, somebody would be there. Touch base with them, try to connect with people. Second thing which you should do is make a proper business plan. Understand that how much should be the money that you should budget in to start a license and which way you should expand and nudge your business into it. The way we are doing business here in India might be slightly different the way you would like to pivot in the market in UAE or any of the Middle East region. Okay? Accordingly, you can decide that how much you want to spend money. Whether you want to take a mainland license, if it's a regulated activity, then obviously you will have to take a mainland license. Otherwise, whether you can do your business with just having a free zone license for time being as well. So these are the two important factors which you can consider and then, you know, start your work. So if it's just about understanding what, you know, test waters, understand, you know, whether how much scope your business will have there, you necessarily doesn't have to start with a business license right away. Okay? So this is the most important factor if any one of you is planning to come there. Understand which category or activity your business would fall into, whether it is regulated or not, and third thing, what is your business plan? Accordingly, you can think of which license to take. All right? What else?
In your experience, is freelance is much better than?
So now authorities there. So his question is freelance better to start with? There is a lot of freelance business of, you know, opportunities that are also available. So that is again a very good option. Necessarily you don't have to start with, now there are multiple kind of licenses as well, right? You know, in terms of visas also, now you have a visit visa, now you can have multiple entry visa. If you start with license, for example, you know, if you are ready to spend around say 2 lakh rupees, around 8,000 dirhams, you can have a freelance visa for yourself. That is something, you know, again a Malayali person based out of Pune who makes this specialized engineering products. Okay? He also wanted to expand there. Now what his business model right now is B2B, where he makes these products for other companies who would further sell it to the customers. So he just again wanted to come and explore the market. He also landed up doing the same thing. He didn't register his company. What he wanted to do was in a year, you know, at least 2 or 3 times he wanted to visit Dubai. That's all his intention was. Go meet people, get business and get it executed from India itself. So that was enough. He took a freelance visa. Now freelance visa gave him a benefit that he can visit Dubai anytime. Just take a ticket and visit. But at the same time, he doesn't have to take a license immediately there or, you know, establish a firm. So freelance visa is also a good option. You can start with that. Okay. So his question is, you know, can we take a virtual space and work from here? That is pretty much possible that again. Now, if you are seriously interested, then you should go and check for authorities. I can name 3 of them immediately. Okay. One you can note down is Sharjah Research Technology Park, SRTIP. You can go to the website, you know, if after this session you can connect with me. All right. So it's srtip.ae. Second is so this is like all 3 prominent emirates of UAE, which is Sharjah. So in Sharjah, go to this website srtip.ae. Second is Dubai Silicon Oasis, which is, a very good free zone authority for anybody who has anywhere, your business involved in technology. And then ADGM is Abu Dhabi based. So there are multiple free zones like these, which can be of great help to you, where you can just take a free zone license, have a virtual office or a desk space. So for example, if you want to visit Dubai twice or thrice a year, you can go and avail the desk space there. And there are multiple sort of, licenses that you can get from these places. So I have just mentioned 3 here, but in Dubai alone, you can have around 57 free zones. Okay, and sector specific free zones as well, and they will give you all sort of benefits. For example, somebody is into logistics, so for you DP World could be a Javza, could be a very good space. So whichever sector you want to operate in, whichever category your business would fall into, they could be free zones also. So check a lot, do a little bit of googling, just simple, wherein you can find out about the business zone authorities, and all of them would assist you virtually as well, or else you can connect with us also. Okay, so this is the 3 prominent authorities. If any one of you want to touch base with them, one is in Sharjah, one is in Dubai, and one is in Abu Dhabi. So we can connect with them, any one of them. Any other question? We have 5 more minutes, right? All right, so we can take few more questions. Yes.
Okay, what are the so I have a startup in India which works in STEM, robotics, arts and design. So how is that process when I migrate my startup from here to Dubai? So
see, again, we come back to the same question that we were asking, whether you are into STEM, right? Essentially, do you have to shift your team, your business, whatever you want to? Necessarily not, right? You don't have to shift your entire base to Dubai. Usually why people, so I'm going to share 1 or 2 slides with you that will also give you a very fair idea of how was my experience for last 1 year. So if you don't have to, shift your team, shift your, unit where you are manufacturing or doing your workforce, then you don't have to register your company immediately. What I would suggest is come there, understand. So yours is a very specific domain, right? So you will have to connect with specific people who are into STEM. I can connect you with few of them who are working very well. Go to Dubai Future Foundation, you will find a lot of people who are into that particular domain. Okay? And then after some time you can decide whether you want to. Many of the startups who are in Series A or beyond, particularly if somebody is into Metaverse, somebody is into Web3, all these people are in a way migrating to, Middle East. And that is because of the regulatory factors, not because of that they essentially had to shift their workforce there. So, those are the things which you have to factor in, that from day one, you don't have to shift your base there. You have to migrate to, if you are exploring market, you can just come there, connect with people, have freelance visa, connect with platforms like these, and then you can, just understand the market. You do not have to spend money from day one itself. Okay. See, yeah, so identify again, coming back to the same thing, which category, what is your business plan, and then you can, decide about whether and when to form an entity there. Right now, just come and explore the market. That is what should be more important, rather than, immediately planning an entity there. All right? What else? Okay. So what? So I'm going to share just 2 slides with you. What we did was, there was a project called India Innovation Hub, which was during Expo, World Expo. We had this project called, it's just basic 2 slides of information which I can explain. So we had around 735 startups who came from India, all these places. Is the dimension correct? Screen the dimension correct or no? It should have wide up. So these are all the places, you can see the maximum number of startups came from Maharashtra and Kerala only. So this is something, a report which will be available at a width. Just increase the width. So just to explain you what the project was and what is the basis, this is not a definitive report as of now. This report will be published next month only. We are in the process, but there are some few trends which is good and useful for you guys to understand, that how and where the business or what is the traction from India, who are people who are coming to particularly UAE. That trend you can understand from here. So during the India Pavilion, we had right from sector specific, 16 sectors and around 19 states who were represented during the expo. We started with space, we ended with entertainment. We started with Karnataka and we ended with, Northeast, and, Kashmir was also there. And every delegation that came every week had 15, 20 startups who came, who was showcased at the India Pavilion. There was India Innovation Hub bus. Anybody of you who came to expo? No, right? You came. You visited the India Pavilion. You visited, right? You saw there was an exit, there was a bus. So that was a platform where we showcased these startups. But we started with the thought that, we will have just 6 pitching sessions, which was just an exposure visit to them, connecting them with the investors there. But we landed up having 735 startups and conducting 20 sessions. So this data which I'm trying to share with you is basically on the basis of expo, and after that last 6 months, all the startups that we have, facilitated them to visit the exposure, have an exposure visit in Dubai. So it is almost 800 plus startups who have visited in last 1 year. 3 months of expo, and after that, the 7 months remaining. So this you get an idea, right? From which region all these startups came. Now this could be a very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the text from here. That's better because you may not be able to figure out. Now, if you see this particular, the first circles which I'm trying to show is how out of that 860 startups who came to, in last 1 year, who came to Dubai, how many of them got investments from, so out of those 680 startups, 57% had raised money from India. And they came all the way there only to understand and explore market. Okay, 57%. Then 11.11% of startups among those had raised money from UAE. It could be angel network, it could be any VC who is based out of UAE. So out of 800, 11% of them had raised money from UAE. So that was a good reason for them to visit UAE, right? Then there were 17.78% of startups who had raised money from both India and UAE. Again, for them also it makes sense. And then 13% who had raised money apart from India and UAE had raised from somewhere else. All right? So you can understand that these were the pretty much a trend of startups who came from the pure perspective of raising money. Now, when all of you, who might think that, UAE could be a place where you can raise money, then there are 2 things which I would like to clarify in the first end itself. What my experience is, this is completely subjective, okay? Somebody else might have some other experience, but my experience of last 1 year, over a year, which I have experienced of handling all these 800 plus startups, is one, it should be sector specific. Sectors which is, if any one of you are from fintech, most welcome. I have seen a lot of people getting a good traction who are from finance background, anything to do with fintech. Any one of you are into agri-tech, climate. These are people, and of course, metaverse, all these blockchains are always welcome. And they have right regulatory framework also now. But apart from that, the second aspect is, if you already have a business, some sort of a traction from UAE. I'll give you one example of a company called Vested Finance. Now what they do is basically 3 classmates who studied in New York. One is a Malaysian, one is an Indonesian, and Indian who is based out of Mumbai. What they do is they help startups or HNIs to invest in US stocks. And they had around 100 plus people who are HNIs who are using their platform from UAE. Now they are thinking of setting up a company in UAE and registering it there, under the regulations which are available there. So they already have traction, and they were raising around 15 CR. They have already got commitments for over 9. Why? Because they already had traction. So what I have understood is that, from the investors interaction that I have, many people who already have some sort of a customer base or some sort of a traction in that region, it helps them a lot. So one is sectors which are specifically where people are ready to invest, have business. That is why, there are very fair chances that you would also get traction towards getting investment as well, right? So the second data which I would like to share with is which stage of startups came to, out of this 800 plus, how many of them were in which stage? So around, if we combine seed and pre-seed, 61% were from seed round, who were, raising money in the seed round. Pre-seed was around 17%. I was talking to somebody who is in an MVP level just now, before the session. So those are the people who are coming over there, but very unlikely, in my experience of last 1 year, to get investments as such. But the maximum number of people who are coming there is almost 75% plus is from the initial stage. How many of them amongst these were Series A? It was 20.8%. Series A and above startups. Okay? And Series B and above was only just 2.1%. Right? The third, interesting data that we could gather from this 800 plus startups was why they came there, right? What was their interest? So as I explained earlier, around 37% of them came to look for investments, 37.7%, who just came looking for investments, raise money from there. And then the very interesting thing is 55.2% were people who wanted to either expand their business in the UAE or they want to expand business in the Middle East, Africa and European region. So 55% plus people came there to look to expand their business. That is where, I think that most of them got good attraction, is not necessarily raising investments, but to expand their business. And that's what, we also encourage. Look for business first, investments will follow, particularly in that market. And then there was 6.67% who came for both the options, who told us during this survey that they are coming for both, investments and expansion. So, I hope this is my learning, of last 1 year of who and why people were traveling there. All right. So, thank you so much. If you have any other questions, I can address to that as well. If anybody has anything, yeah.
Few words about your firm. A few words about your firm.
What I do. Okay. So, mine also is pretty much, if I say apart from what I do professionally, when I talk about startup Middle East, which I am representing here, is also a startup, in its own way. What we did was a good opportunity which was translated into a good business. But you would not, so let me just tell you, I told you about this entire India Innovation Hub project, right? So India Innovation Hub project, I was handling many, so in Dubai, FICCI, who was the industry partner, hired 2 people as consultants from Dubai, Rest 200 plus staff came from India who were handling the pavilion. Out of those 2 people, one was me. So there were many work, why they hired me was essentially because of the community connect that I had. Because I was working with this business council for over 7 years, so I had good connects there. That was possibly one reason that they hired me. Out of many verticals that they gave me, one of the work was, handling the scheduling of this bus. He is aware of the bus which I'm talking about. It was basically a bus converted into a lounge where we were showcasing 2 startups each every day. So just scheduling, right? We were having startups who were registering their interest and we had to just schedule it. But later on we understood that, startups is not something which is an animal which cannot be contained in a bus. We started then doing all these pitching sessions, and eventually what started as 5% of my work became 85% what I was handling towards the end. So as to just, give you an example how big it became is we were the only pavilion out of 192 countries in Expo which had a dedicated space for startups, for showcasing startups. So that was something which made a lot of noise within the Expo. That out of what many people were showcasing innovations from their country, but nowhere they were option as platform for startups to come and tell people that this is what I do. At that micro level, right? Where people can come and interact with startups. So that is what got a lot of attention. And eventually, what we were doing there, the later part, the later 3 months of the Expo, a lot of momentum came here also. In India, when I say, for the last pitching session which I conducted on 28th of March, after 3 days Expo was going to end, this was the last finale program. We had a marathon pitching session where startups were given 2 minutes to make a pitch and 2 minutes for taking 1 or maximum 2 questions. And we had 106 startups who made that pitch. So this was the third marathon pitching session where more than 50 startups participated. The last one was 106 startups, and out of that, 94 were from IITs. HSBC Bank had sponsored their stay. Ease My Trip, the Prashant Pitti, who is the owner of, one of the co-founders among the siblings, was from IIT Chennai. So he sponsored the travel of entire, all this batch of 100 plus founders. And we had 94 people who were from only IITs. And you would not believe how was the scene. I would have loved to share that picture with you, but you can go to social media and check for that picture. Elevate 20 finale. And we had Anurag Singh Thakur, who was our cabinet minister, visited Elevate pitching session just to understand what is happening. And one reason why our platform became so well known is because of the support that now we are getting. Now from there started the journey of what you essentially, as what I do now under Startup Middle East, is I realized that this is a great opportunity. Why? Because 28th, 31st, the Expo got over. And I continued getting all these calls and emails from people who wanted to have follow-up visits. And asking us that, can you connect with that person, this institute, can you do that? Okay. So and the second thing which I realized is that I had a very good team. Essentially all of them were 5 Malayali kids, but born and raised in UAE only. Very well. One was an architect, one was a doctor who was on a break before, 1 year she had to join her profession full time. One was a BBA student, one was a mechanical engineer. So I realized that I had a very good team who could have handled the project at this scale. So 2 clues for you, from this is, one, I identified the opportunity that this is something big. There is a dearth of such a platform, and I had a very good team who could handle this. All I did was I told these guys, 5 of them, is take a break. You have worked hard. 8 months we didn't take a weekly off. We were working, non-stop, across. And I can say for myself, I didn't take a break single day. I told them, continue, be at home, continue taking calls and respond to emails, and be at home. We connected with Council General of India, we connected with FICCI, we connected with the ministry here, and asked all of them that we have loads of inquiries, what to do. And typically government had no immediate plans which you could, any information which would be of help to us. What I did, I registered a company myself. I talked to the Council General. He said, SIBY, right now government will take another 6 months of time to identify what to do, what will happen to the India Pavilion, how will they structure it. So I registered a company for myself. I have now 3 companies registered under which, together form the cluster of Startup Middle East. And we work in 3 domains. One domain is an enterprise forum, a monthly cohort of startups that we help them. So you can, anybody who registers for that cohort, we have 2 days exposure visit, and we make them visit, have 4 different sessions. including investors connect, including a networking dinner event, including a visit to a incubation center, and including a visit to a government center. So that is one part which I do. Second part is basically Investors Guild, where we connect startups. So we have developed a database of around 120 plus angels, PEs, venture capital firms. So we connect you guys, those who participate. Any of them have interest, so we connect them with them. But 80% of my focus is basically where I told you the opportunity is, right? People who want to come and expand there. So we help them with advice how with less investing as less as possible they can explore the market. So that's what I am doing. All right. But let me tell you one thing which is exceptionally good is I'm not quoting a figure but there are people who are after me to invest in my startup already. And they're valuing it in good number of millions. And all my events are sponsored. I have sponsorship for another year. I have Builder.ai, Citibank, who have ready to sponsor. Many such platforms are ready to sponsor. There are, a good amount of, from 5 million to 10 million that we are able to raise funds and help startups. But yeah, it is coming up really well. So I started with 5 in my team. Now we have 11 in 7 months. So it's going good.
See, actually we are operating from Kerala right now, and we have our customer base across Middle East, especially the GCC countries. So we are getting some kind of collaborations from there, especially from Dubai and Doha in Qatar. Yeah, like they're inviting us for to be collaborated with them, as in to make operations over there as well. I mean, so we are thinking about how can we collaborate with them. We don't know personally, but still they are interested to make more relation with us, and they are ready to even invest in our project, and to make it big and to make it global, they are ready to help us. So we are the thing lacking is means basically we don't have an access to get there, and we are not we don't feel like they are that much genuine for us, and they do have a kind of ecosystem for this industry. Means we are not sure they have a kind of startup ecosystem. We are not sure about that. So how could we generate this money? How can we make sure that they are into this actually?
I think he's in a very good situation, right? A good problem to have. One is you already have traction. You have people who are already using your services. Number one. Number two, you already have people interested to invest. So first thing you should do is get on a Zoom call and, figure out. Or best thing is to, apply for a visit visa, take a ticket and visit them. Third thing which you are saying is actually something which is critical, is to understand that which partner to collaborate with, what is the credibility of that particular organization, and do they have the wherewithal to help you really. One immediate thing which comes up in mind if I have to advise is basically collaboration is a very good way to do business there, if at all that makes business sense to you, rather than setting up your own spending money, setting up your own firm. If there is a collaboration which pretty much you are like-minded people and your business model works out, there is no collision of interest, but then that's the best way. Now, in terms of understanding where the credibility of the person is, again, you will have to network around, figure out, understand a bit more. We come across many people, who connect with us. The second role that I have is that I'm the Secretary General of a business council there. So through that channel, we get a lot of people who some or the other way didn't had a very good experience of doing some sort of a small business deal maybe, sometimes. So that is all about reference checks. As much as reference checks you can get done, you will get a very fair idea. And again, as I started my talk with, try to reach out to people whom you know through them, or if I can help, figure out people who are working in the same domain and try to do a reference check from them. That's the best way. And second thing which I obviously suggest everyone is figure out anywhere if you're getting into a legal arrangement with anyone, do ask for their license copy. Just make sure that they are a proper registered legal entity. that also you can, check with any lawyer there, that you can do. All right. So that is again a best way. Just ask for a copy of their business license.
Sir,
Anything else?
Sir, you said a few points of climate tech companies. Would you please said what are the scopes of such companies there? Climate tech.
See, one thing, of course, we will have to get into a little bit of details, maybe we can touch, after this session. But any one of you who are in the domain of sustainability, climate, how many of you are aware of COP28 conference which is going to happen next year? You're aware, right? It's going to happen at Expo City, and UAE will be hosting in 2023 November. So anybody who are particularly working in the sustainability domain and who have, closely working in the climate tech, reach out to Expo City, reach out to, the embassy. We can also help you connect with one or two. That is the best time, for example, EY, many of them are showcasing startups who have very good, anybody who is in the domain of ESG, climate tech, sustainability, you will have ample opportunity in coming this 1 year until November 2023 to showcase your startup there in the UAE. And that could be a very opportune time to have collaborations and have a very good exposure. So any one of you who know anyone who is working in these domains, ESG, climate tech, anything to do with sustainability, it's a very good time to come and showcase your startup there. So because of this particular COP28 being held at Abu Dhabi.
Sir, what's the possibility of space startups? Currently, UAE and other Middle East countries are into space technology and space research. They have done few missions. In India, when we are looking, there are a lot of space startups, and US also. So what are the possibility of space startups and space entities in UAE and Middle East?
So one of the startups who were part of our November cohort was Skyroot. Skyroot, who recently launched the first private vehicle to launch satellites, and they used ISRO's Harikota data, base to launch. And we also have Galaxy Eye. We also have a good number of startups. So as I said, India Innovation Hub Expo, we started with the space sector, and as you rightly said, the Luna project of Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center, they are focusing a lot in the space domain. Now again, what all are the opportunities there? I told you about Dubai Silicon Oasis, right? Now Dubai Silicon Oasis, the main Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center is based out of Abu Dhabi, but they have their one office in Dubai Silicon Oasis also. So if you go to their website, you can just reach out to them also, right? But two particular sectors, again, apart from the sustainability, where they are, the Dubai government is focusing, they have regulatory framework, they have funds to support, is space, a lot to do with space. And second thing is, of course, metaverse, Web3, the blockchain. They recently conducted, if you are aware, just a week back in Abu Dhabi, there was an event called Abu Dhabi Space Debate. Go and Google it. Okay, we had a cabinet minister from here, and people like Skyroot's founder also visiting Abu Dhabi for space debate. And similarly, we had this Dubai Metaverse Assembly last month, which was all about startups who are working in that particular domain.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So space is a good sector to reach out. Anyone else? All right. Thank you so much.